Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
A lot of focus in the US has been on tariffs, unsurprisingly, but there's an awful lot happening also in the Courier Express parcel and postal market. To find out more, keep watching this LMP video.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.
Gary, it's been quite a while since we discussed what was happening stateside, and there's a lot that's been happening from Liberation Day to changes, CEO, probably the most well-known internationally operator, USPS. How about we talk about the US?
I think absolutely. I think we had the shortest lived Prime Minister ever in the UK, Liz Truss, lasted 49 days, and the Sun bet that the lettuce they had in their fridge would last longer and be fresher than Liz Truss's premiership, and they were right. The lettuce was still palatable after 49 days, and Liz Truss had to resign. And that's what news from the US is like. The shelf life of it is so short. Getting to do a video about it before it's been completely irrelevant and overtaken by the next turn of events is almost impossible.
And that's right. And Gary, it's good that you mentioned that. So, dear viewers, there is a risk that when we actually publish this video, half of what we're talking about becomes irrelevant. But I think that's part of the discussion we should have, that, times of complete lack of stability and certainty, how do you manage? And maybe that could be the backstory. But, the big news, as I understand it, is this. So we've got Liberation Day. We've got the big bang with the tariffs, which have now been largely rescinded and then held back for, I think, was it 30 days or 90 days? I can't remember now. It changes.
Days. Yeah, 90 days.
So we got that. We've got a new boss at USPS. Gary, what do you make of it?
Well, my understanding of what happened at USPS is that Doge came in and started kicking the tires, and DeJoy, the previous Postmaster General, was basically left that day. So there was a big falling out, and he exited the business. And I've met with DeJoy and I've met with his people a number of times, and it was quite an autocratic culture, a culture that was a business that was losing billions of dollars per year. So you can imagine, for Elon Musk, it's a complete anachronism. How could you possibly let that go? The new guy they've got, I don't know much about him, but I know he's ex-FedEx. So instead of parachuting in a friend of the president or a high-ranking civil servant from some other area, they've got a guy that knows logistics and knows the industry. So hopefully that will help make a difference. You'll know where to put money to make a difference or where not to put money to not make a difference. From our point of view, the good news is they're going to stop rolling out their own lockers inside post offices. We've consistently said it was the wrong strategy. You want to make things more accessible to the public, not double up the accessibility
behind doors
inside the post office building. So knee-jerk reaction is we're hoping this is going to be a positive move for out-of-home delivery and for the growth of USPS. So this is against the backdrop of the tariff situation. FedEx have announced job cuts. USPS have announced job cuts. UPS have announced further job cuts operationally across the network. And this is a market that's been sort of a status quo for a long time. It's getting heavily disrupted, not only by Amazon and Amazon Logistics, it's hard to imagine from this side of the Atlantic how dominant Amazon is in e-commerce in the States, because not many European markets are even close to that level of dominance. But also, there are lots of small players that are coming out of the woodwork and really changing how delivery is done completely.
And Gary, that's something I like to latch onto because, well, first of all, you might remember I spent almost a year out in the States as part of the startup team for Amazon Logistics. And what shocked me was the fact that, frankly, there's not much that the US and specifically Amazon could learn about fulfillment. But in terms of last mile, Courier Express parcel stuff, my words, I think Europe was quite a long way ahead. And that's why if you'd have said to me that the guy at USPS is ex-Amazon Logistics, I'd have said, yeah, okay, maybe something's going to change. The issue is, in my opinion, and maybe I'm being a bit unfair here, but both FedEx and UPS were real game changers in the 50s, 60s, 70s. I mean, in fact, I've got a picture somewhere. Marek Grell, my LME partner, actually showed me of a design for a parcel locker about 100 years old. It was a UPS design. So, I don't want to knock what they've done in the past, but I call them legacy carriers because I think they haven't been so innovative. And the question is this: will somebody maybe they were innovative, but they weren't able to do it within that constellation. Maybe the FedEx guy can do something. But I would say that actually Amazon's the one to watch. And the small players, you said, the ones that are really being innovative, doing new stuff. The only thing I would say is it probably doesn't help the incumbents in the US market that actually you really don't know what is going to be happening for how long. Which, in business, Gary, it's so important to be able to make a good business plan, to know that at least some things are within your control. And at the moment, if I was an American CEO, I'd feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think the other question is, if America sneezes, does Europe catch a cold? So does all of this upset, confusion really heavily impact onto the lives of European consumers, European home delivery, European e-commerce? Now, a global recession obviously affects everybody. And I can imagine if you were FedEx Europe, UPS Europe, you've got a high volume of transatlantic traffic is probably keeping your business going. If that is starting to get affected, it'd be interesting to see how the consequences of this mass confusion spill over to our viewers close to home.
I think that's actually a really good point, because where they make the mega bucks is on international, particularly intercontinental flows. And, that was traditionally the absolute most sort of, from a profit perspective, sexy part of the business. Well, look, Gary, let's see where it takes us. I think that the summary today is we don't know because there's so many changes. I think we have come back to a entente cordiale, and we agree. I understand that, that Amazon and the small players are the ones that are making the changes. The question is, can the new captain of the ship at USPS implement quite dramatic change to be able to keep up with what's happening in the market?
Let's hope so. We'll have to watch and wait and see. I'm looking forward to my first chance to meet with them.
Gary, as usual, great talking. Dear listeners and viewers, if you've enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. It helps us keep the videos free. But also, really importantly, on LinkedIn, if you want to comment, if you think we've got it wrong, if you want more on the same subject, then give us your thoughts. And looking forward to seeing you all again in a week's time.